Let me tell you my definition of relationships, the way I perceive relationships. Relationships is a place where we learn to deconstruct what we have learned about relationships from our previous experiences, either childhood or adulthood, even experiences, while we're also learning ourselves. We're also creating a new template of who we want to be as partners and what kind of partners we want to attract, we want to be with. So it's a place where we are unlearning the old and learning the new. Because the way that we learn to be in relationships in the past is not applicable, it's not sustainable for us. And I will explain what I mean. I'm talking again about relationships. October has been the month of relationships. You know probably already because you have seen many videos that I have streamed with you. And also because yesterday we had the workshop From Conflict to Connection Through Safe Attachment. And we were talking about relationships for 2 hours nonstop. And we had a very interesting conversation there. So the difference between relationships in the past and relationships now. In the past, relationships were more codependent. The couple, the two partners, were depending on each other. Practically speaking, let's start with that. Practically speaking, they were depending on each other. One would give birth to the children and would raise the children, and the other one would bring money and would support financially the household. They were the resources that they had made it impossible that one would do both of them. So they had to split. They had to split the tasks that they had to do. So practically, they were together for this specific reason because they were depending on each other. They were also together, and their priority was to survive. Their priority was to make it through the day. The priority were that they would be sure that they had enough money at the table, they had enough food at the table, and that they would provide the best resources for their children. So you can see again the practical element. And also, relationships in the past, they would not focus so much on the emotional connection. They were not so famous, let's say, for their relationship skills that the partners had. And it was a successful relationship if they could manage their household. So it was, again, this practical element. Now, moving to the present moment, a couple of generations closer to the present moment, where relationships are not depending, couples are not depending on each other. And what I mean with that, practically, one person can have children, raise children, and have a very successful job and have the financial means in order to thrive. Of course, it's difficult. I'm not saying that it's not difficult, but nowadays, men or women can have children. Men or women can have successful jobs, successful positions at the workplace. So they don't depend on each other. At least that's not the reason that they want to be together. We can be together for that reason, but we don't want to be together for that reason. Now the priority is not survival anymore. Now the priority in relationships is quality. Quality in our relationship. We are together because we have better time together than what we have alone. We are together because we're happier together than what we are alone. We are together because we have more balance together, because we like it being together. So they are together because of this emotional connection, because of this quality that they are seeking in this relationship. The priority, again, is the quality and the emotional connection. That was not the priority before. Maybe that was something that was coming, and usually after many years of a couple being together, but now it's one of the most important priorities. If we don't feel connected, if we don't feel loved, We don't like being in relationships. Either we prefer to be alone or we are moving out of relationships. And now we also learn about emotional skills. There are people going to workshops about relationships. There are people going to couples therapy. There are people that they are looking inside them in order to find the resources, in order to heal the trauma so that they can be better connected with themselves, but also with a partner. So now we are growing also our emotional skills. And we like that because that brings more connection to the relationship. And that's the criterion that makes a relationship successful nowadays. Back then, it was whether we could survive as a family or as a couple. But now, the success in the relationship is if we manage to feel connected. This is our priority, and this is what we consider as a successful relationship. So, as you see, through the years, through the generations, relationships have changed. The problematic now area is when we are in current relationships with the current needs and the current values that we have, while carrying mindsets and skills and techniques and values from the past. That's a clash. And that's why I said in the beginning that nowadays relationship is the place where we deconstruct the emotional baggage that we bring from previous relationships, from our parents, from how they perceived relationships. And we sit down and deconstruct all these so that we can create a new place with our new own values and with what we consider as a successful relationship. So that was my 2 cents for today. The change in relationships, the change that has occurred because we have changed, and how we need to talk about the new age of relationships, how we need to talk a lot about relationships, how we need to include relationship classes at school because we didn't know back then. And of course, it was not the priority. I get it. But now we need it. We need it desperately. We need to know more about relationships, about boundaries, about patterns, about attachment style, about theories, about relationship skills, about validation and listening and patience and transference and healing and traumas. We need to talk about all this as soon as possible, right? So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for listening. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to connect with you. Let me know if you have any question, and looking forward to seeing you next week. And then we will continue talking with another topic. If you're interested about the workshop From Conflict to Connection through Safe Attachment, it's on the website AntiLoneliness.com, and you can purchase the webinar and you can see exactly what we were talking about. And let's start talking about relationships. We're part of the change. Have a good day and take good care.